In the name of Ahmen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord. In Ahmen we trust, in Ahmen we think, and in Ahmen we will continue forward forever as of 144,000 within the Republic of MENTELLECT. Good evening. This is your host, Indira Mendez on MENTELLECT Radio, and today's date is March 22nd, 2018 on a Thursday evening, and tonight's topic is going to be about why Ahmen chose an elected few over the majority. Now, this is a 30 to 45 minute talk show, so you all can stay tuned. So please be advised that this is an audio recording, so that way you all can know the type of this broadcast. So I'm going to start off with the minority over the majority of people. Okay, and why the minority few will always matter over the majority. Now, the whole figure in the 144,000, that is considered the minority over the masses of people that is on this planet. Okay, so usually the minority have a better chance at correcting themselves. So the 144,000 that are really and truly chosen are the ones that have a way of getting in alignment, with Ahmen. And a majority of people have usually are disorderly, chaotic, and they carry on that disorderly frequency, and they are usually believers and emotional based on their level of mindset and the way they go about things in life. And based on their emotions and their belief, they allude to the three-dimensional things such as other people, places, and possessions. And they usually measure it based on their belief and how they might feel about these particular situations, or even and it go down to the fact of them making a decision. So 9 times out of 10, you have a lot of majority of people that do common things. Okay, so usually the reason why they will find certain things in common, or they will say common sense to a certain particular situation, is because certain types of degeneracy or things that's just going on in the world may be acceptable. Some things may not be acceptable, but the fact of the matter is that get these groups of people that have the same commonality mindset, and they might agree to disagree or agree with certain ways of life and thinking, and they'll live their life accordingly like it's nothing is wrong. But then you have that few minority of people that look at these particular things that may be degenerate and may be acceptable to the masses and majority of people, where they agree to it, such as you got homosexuality. You got people that agree to it. The majority of people agree to it because they have this thing with love, or we all love the world and it's all love. And then you have certain other permissible things that's not really cool, like you got in the rap music. The rap music is very degenerate, and the stuff that they say, the things that come out of their mouth, it just don't make no sense. But yet, and still, it's still permissible, and it's still acceptable to the majority of people, especially the youth. They find that it's cool when it's really not teaching them anything. Okay, and if anything, in fact of the matter, they might feel that, just off of the rap music that they learn is some kind of street knowledge or something like that, but no. Okay, so we have the minority of the few that still have some type of morality, to whereas it's not no thing with no big I's or little U's or whatever the case might be. It's just the fact of the principle and rules and respect and how things are supposed to be, and you got a lot of things that's just just going on just in general. Okay, so I'm just here to say that Ahmen is going to choose to select few of people because the 144,000 are going to be in alignment, mind, body, and soul. They're going to be orderly. They're going to be lawful. They're going to follow out laws and orders and things like that and not be disorderly. They're going to be the one that restores structure when there's chaos and confusion that's going on, around them. Meanwhile, Ahmen will shelter and protect these people against, the world when things start to fall and collapse with, how things are going and the things that are being pushed and promoted in society and in this world. Okay, so Ahmen is going to give that power to that minority few so that way they can bring that power and that orderly, lawful way of life back on and restore it back onto the earth. Okay, now I know some people that may be listening, like, what is she saying? Is she being fanatical, whatever the case might be? No, this is what's going to actually take place according to, what intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz had mentioned before. He had mentioned in his broadcast a lot of times. So, this is something to just be aware of and to think about. Okay, when you have that minority few of people, they are not common like the majority of people. They are very uncommon and they're very peculiar. And a lot of times these types of people get mistaken for being weird or eccentrical, or they be called a lot of things, that show that they don't fit in with the majority and masses of people. Okay, but these particular people are actually in connection with Ahmen. Okay, so those are my thoughts on why the minority few of people will matter over the majority. Okay, now moving along to chosen for a reason. Okay, now when you come into the Republic of Mentellect, there's a saying that you don't choose the Republic of Mentellect, Ahmen chooses you and give you a chance. Okay, whatever you do with that chance and that opportunity within being in the Republic of Mentellect is up to you. If you forfeit your purpose, you forfeit your seat in the Republic of Mentellect, you will be replaced. Okay, replaced as in someone else will come in to fill your seat. Now, as Ahmen Nuben had mentioned before, intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz, same person, as he had mentioned before, that sometimes you got people that will come as the, pre-version of the actual person that's supposed to be here in the Republic of Mentellect. Sometimes you may have that, okay? But at the end of the day, if you know that this is about your evolution and you going forward and you forfeit that, that's it. There's no back and forth going, okay, well, I'm going to leave whenever I want to leave and come back whenever I want to come back. No, once you are out of the Republic of Mentellect, you are officially out. There's no buying your way back in here, no pleading your way back in here. You are out and your seat and your connection with Ahmen has been forfeited. Okay? And that's a fact. And that's truthful. Okay, so when you come into the Republic of Mentellect, you have to come with a serious mind and not just a curious mind, as intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz have mentioned. If you come in to feel things out, see how things are, or whatever the case might be, then this is not for you. Okay, this is not for you. This is not something for you to just encounter or experience. This is something real. We are working on building a community. We are working on building and working for each other and by each other. We are going to make it happen. We're not just talking about it. We're going to make it actually happen. Okay, so it's not just, talking about it. We actually being about this work. Okay, and if you know that your mind is not equipped for that, just like intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz say, keep your $100. We do not need it. And we do not need that frequency or that energy circulating in the Republic of Mentellect. But the fact of the matter that we do have that type of energy circulating within the Republic of Mentellect, we utilize it. We utilize both the energy or whatever the frequency was. I don't like to use the polar opposites of negative and positive, but we use all types of energy and utilize it for something useful until it cannot be used no more. Okay? So the whole fact of the matter is question of chosen for a reason. Why you chosen for being in the Republic of Mentellect? Why you are chosen and not rejected at first hand is because 9 times out of 10 is either you have purpose, a mission, or you are part of a sacrifice, or it's about sacrifice. Basically doesn't necessarily mean physical death. Sacrifice can be that you are sacrificing personal desires or things that you have done in the past, like your habits, or going certain particular places that brought pleasure to you, and you can no longer do those things. You can no longer be black. And when I say black, black meaning having a black mentality. That's what I mean. Okay, ignorant. Okay, you cannot bring that in the Republican Mentellect. Okay, and when you realize that, just like Intellectual Newman McCarthy said, this is like a mind boot camp. Okay, so that part of yourself have to be sacrificed. Certain things that you've done, certain decisions, however way your attitude was or whatever, it's gonna shape and mold you. When you realize that you can't do those things like gossip, or you can't do things that you thought brought you some type of drive or some energy to to get you boosted, get you excited, or whatever the case might be, which is all useless energy. When you can no longer entertain that part of yourself, and that part of yourself dies. So that is a sacrifice. Okay, that's a sacrifice that you're making to evolve, to reach your higher self, the higher version of you in the future. Okay, so this is what I mean by sacrifice. And then you got those types of people that are there to be a sacrifice, as in they're here for a greater cause. Okay, they're going to stand for something that's great and moving forward. If we got to kick ass, we got to do whatever we got to do to protect the Republican Mentellect and his Ahmen order, then we got to do what we got to do. And sometimes it may be our life at stake, our life at hand. We got to do what we got to do. Plain and simple. Okay, and that may be a different degree of sacrifice. Okay, you got to be willing to die for what you not believe in, but for what you know to be truthful. Okay, what you know to be divine, what you know that is in connection with Ahmen. You have to be ready to go hard for it. If you don't go hard, you go home. Okay, go back into the black race if this is not for you. If that's your home, go back home. If you ain't gonna go hard for this. Okay, that's my thoughts on that. Okay, and then like I said, when you have a purpose, if you are that person, you are that personified being, then you are here for a purpose, for a reason. You may not understand it, you may not get all the the pieces to the puzzles, but eventually as time go on, you would define and realize what your purpose is. That's why when we come into the Republican Mentellect and we do the screening of interview, we ask, what do you have to offer the Republican Mentellect that can be of use to the members as well as yourself? What type of talents that you have that you can invest in and go forward, so that way you can feel you can grow into your purpose of what it is that you need to be doing. Expand and extend yourself in the Republican Mentellect. Okay, so this is what your purpose, and when you realize that it's a one-way path thing. Okay, it's not you getting into different things and different directions because you want to get into this, you want to dip and dab into this. No, it's a one thing that you focus on and you go straight forward. Okay, your mind is not divided, your attention span is not divided. You have a clear and cut focus on where you need to be, and that's your purpose. Okay, and this is why Ahmen chooses you for something, a greater cause. Sometimes people come into the Republican Mentellect and don't realize what they have great inside of them, and we pull it out of them. We pull it out of them and they discover new things about yourself. That's what happens when you come into the Republican Mentellect. You discover new things about yourself, and you extend yourself. You grow, you evolve going forward. Okay, when you have that ignorant, that low vibration, that black mindset, you're not going to go nowhere. It's just a circle of madness. And that's not what we're here to do in the Republican Mentellect. We're going on a linear path, straight and forward, on the path of our purpose, and to move forward and be in connection with Ahmen. Okay, and then a mission. Sometimes you have to go through a series of events, and that's going to lead up to a greater cause. So sometimes we might go from one life into another life, time frame, whatever the case might be, and be on a mission. Even when you come and you join a Republican Mentellect, you are on a mission. Because whatever it is that you need to do in spite of your purpose in life, You have to make sure that whatever it is that you meant to be here on this earth is done within the time frame that you are here, that the time that is allotted to you. You got to make sure that you make that time useful by not even completing your mission, but going from one mission to another, okay, into something greater. You got to make sure that it is done, okay? And then like I said, I explained about the whole sacrificial point and stuff like that when people come into the Republican Mentellect. Now, when you go against the odds, when you go against, yourself, and you become your own worst enemy, what happens is that you forfeit your purpose, okay? You actually cause yourself to be defeated and to be a failure, and to get yourself booted out in the Republican Mentellect. You do it. Nobody else do it. Either it didn't resonate with you, or you felt like, okay, well, you still had black ways or a black mentality, so you just didn't want to agree, or follow certain types of order or protocol. Or sometimes you might feel, and that's the mistake that people make. When you think very little about something that can come, something great can come out of. When you think very little of it, you realize that when you see differently, you will regret the fact of you assuming something that is not really truthful or facts. Okay, so if you underestimate that the Republican Mentellect is gonna go far, it ain't gonna go nowhere, or you summed up, oh, it's a scam, or whatever the case might be in the back of your mind, Ahmen is gonna punish you. Okay, Ahmen is gonna punish you, and not only just punish you, but make you engulf in that regret, that means of regret. And I'm not just saying it just to be saying it, but that the people that know what that guilt might feel as a result of assuming something and it's not really what it is. That's what I'm trying to say in this message, okay? And then opposed from all of that, we have the people that have supernatural intelligence that's in the Republican Mentellect. Okay, it's beyond just their purpose, their mission, or sacrificing anything. These people are automatically disciplined. They discipline, and their mind is clear and focused. They master these each three of those things in terms of the purpose, the mission, and the sacrifice. Sometimes they become what intellectual nomenclature is. They graduate into being a captain. Okay, different titles of the Republican Mentellect, but the people that have that supernatural intelligence, they beyond just the five senses and just being caught up in or allude to the three-dimensional world. They beyond that. They either on the fourth, fifth, or sixth dimension. Okay, and they able to maintain that frequency, opposed to being around either mixed vibrations. And that's because their intelligence is beyond the normality of what Earth might consider to be average or normal. Okay, so this is one thing that I want to mention in regards to that, and this is why Ahmen chooses these people, okay, to move forward, because usually these people are with the master plan for moving forward and going forward into the future. Okay, and then just to briefly go back with sacrifice has a lot to do with selflessness, and one degree, like I said, you sacrificing personal, desires or habits that you had or used to, accustomed to doing certain things. And then the other ultimate sacrifice, as I briefly explained, was death. That when you fighting for something that that is of value, not what you believe, but what you value. Okay, you fight for it. Okay, anything that's worth having, you fight for it, and you're willing to die for it. That's the next phase of sacrifice, is death. Okay, when you invest your blood, sweat, and tears into whatever it is that you doing, you set out to do, it's worth fighting for. Okay, and at times maybe if it is cost to your life, being taken behind it all. Okay, but for something greater in the end. Okay, now moving along to the elect versus the selection. Now, this is not to be redundant in terms of how I spoke about the minority and majority, but the elect, you know, what is the difference in the purpose of the elect over the selection? Okay, so the elect, I was saying, you know, lack of better terms, is the people, the person, the personified being, especially the ones in the Republican Mentellect and those who are outside of the Republican Mentellect that have yet to join the Republican Mentellect. But those particular people that have that supernatural intelligence, okay, that people think that don't exist, but it do exist, okay, those are the elect, okay. Now, the people that join the Republican Mentellect are the selection. Okay, they are the selection that, you know, you serve for a purpose. You serving for a purpose. You know, you're on mission. You're on a mission or a sacrifice, or just your purpose in life. You know, you're serving a purpose, meaning you can be useful and utilized for something greater. Okay, so there's a difference between the elect. Okay, and 9 times out of 10, the elect will move further than the selection. Okay, because as you said, as I always say that the selection will basically make up the body, and those who are of the elect make up the head. But right now, who we have in that seating is intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz. He is the head that is leading the body, which is the selection. Another thing to keep in mind, that you got people that come into the Republican Mentellect and also lead the Republican Mentellect. So they were chosen, but they chose to leave. So they were the selection, okay, the select few. Okay, they weren't necessarily that personified being, meaning the elect. Because the elect, the ones that are elected, they're not going nowhere in the Republican Mentellect. They are going to stay here, okay? And it's not what you do that matters, is what you continue to do in the Republican Mentellect. Okay, so the elected are usually the ones in power and will serve with a purpose. Okay, these are the people that are really and truly in connection with Ahmen. Okay, even if for the select crew, you got those people that are learning Ahmen, learning how to get into their capabilities, learning how to do those different things that intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz mentioned, like psychometry, telepathy, all of that. You coming into all of that, you learning these things, but the elect don't have to do that. They already know how to do it. They masters of it. Okay, especially our generation of children going forward into the future are going to be more than just a master of these things, but it's going to be a way of life for them. Okay, and this is serious. This is very serious. But the elect that's here, that's in the Republican Mentellect, and those that have yet to come in the Republican Mentellect, these elected ones are the one that can do these types of particular things that intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz mentioned. Like I said, once again, it's psychometry. Okay, psychometry is when you're able to use your mind force to move objects and things. Okay, you're not physically moving it or touching it, but it can move on its own. That's psychometry. And then you got telepathy, when you're able to move, transmit communication of thought back and forth to someone. Okay, that is real. That is real. Astral projection is meaning when you are in the body and you are in a sleep state. Okay, but also conscious, your body in one facility, but you can also astral project into another place and dimension, or whatever the case might be. You could also be somewhere else. Your soul will be someplace else. Okay, and even in that, those who are into the spirituality, you got to be careful when doing that. Because if you're not careful, you got these entities, demonic forces that can get into your body. And that's real. But the elected ones don't have to worry about that. Because again, going back to master, they are the master of these things. Okay? They are the master of these things. And that's real. Okay? And whatever I didn't mention before, they are able to do these things. Okay? Without practice, without having to learn to come into it or tap into it. They know how to do it offhand. Okay, and people who you think don't know how to do it actually knows how to do it. Okay, so the elect will always have a purpose, and the selection will always live for a purpose. The selection. Okay, so you have the elected ones that will lead and guide you forward into the future. The elected ones who I always say, right now we have Intellectual Makare as the elected one. We had I can't get his name, Dr. York as an elected one, and then we also had Elijah Muhammad as an elected one. These were future people, and this is a future person that's going to bring us forward, the selection forward into the future. Okay, so that is what I mean by that. And the selection are the ones that live for a purpose. Meanwhile, the elected ones, the one in power, are the ones that are living with a purpose. Okay, beyond just missions and sacrifices. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Okay, and then last but not least, because the broadcast is coming to a close, why you should always put Ahmen first. Okay, and why Ahmen chooses an elected few over the majority is because the elected, like I said, is the 144,000 within the Republic of Mentellect, was chosen because the reconstruction of the Lord, in order to restore it back onto the earth, to be the leaders of tomorrow, as Intellectual Makare mentioned before. Okay, and then the majority, like I said, they have become disorderly, chaotic, double-minded, and don't really have no future to look forward to in the, going forward. Okay, there's no community being built. Okay, there's no actual effective, planning and things going forward with, the black race in particular. There's nothing really going on in particular. And if it is, it always has something either linked to the white man or whatever the case might be, some type of affiliations with them or something with the outside world. Okay? What we are trying to do is to actually generate our own money, our own income, without having to utilize anything that comes from the white man or white man's approval for anything. Okay? So this is our focus in the Republic of Mentellect. Okay? And with that being said, the broadcast has come to a close. And as I always say, for those who took the time out to listen to the Republic of Mentellect, I thank you. And I thank you for listening to this broadcast. And I hope, as I always say, that you're able to get something, out of the broadcast. It's something, thought, something that's going to inspire or motivate you to think differently. Okay, this is the whole objective of me doing the broadcast. Okay, not just to be talking and rambling, just to be rambling. That's not what I come here to do. Okay, I know as I continue to do the broadcast, I will perfect myself over time. Okay, sometimes when you have people that have certain types of weakness, they have to perfect it and make it into a strength. But it's not even about that. It's about the message. Okay, thank you once again. And for those who are part of Republic of Mentellect, Menzek Ahmen to all the Enrus and the Enras. Good night.
Rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Mentellect, black race to the white race. If it's hell, Ahmen, then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities